Hey everyone, this is Mike. We just finished day 2 of the Ship for World Use Facilitators training yesterday. It was a full day of discussing among the 7 facilitators and Satoshi and his team of Haruno and Tomomi about what we're going to discuss within the course discussions, samples, templates of what might work. Paul, who is the master of the facilitation, he did a section 2 about, and his main mantra was, it's not about the what, but it's the how. Basically, how do you execute? How do you conduct a successful facilitation? And I think a lot of people, if they haven't done this SHIP program before, fall into like a teaching trap where they tend to be teaching or going just one way instead of encouraging and getting the participants to talk, and also balancing that within the class. You have different levels of English ability. You have different countries. You have different cultural norms. For the Japanese, they tend to hold back or be more reserved. Other countries might be more outgoing. And how do you balance that? So, and we also worked on our course outline. And this weekend from today, we moved to the NYC, the National Youth Center, which is the old Tokyo Olympic Center, and we will meet the Japanese participants. Today it will all be divided. We will have about 17 Japanese participants in each of our course discussion groups, and we'll meet them for the first time. We'll do more like at the beginning kind of energizers, like icebreakers, getting them to know each other, basically building community. Because if we can build community and get them to achieve a safe space from the very beginning, after it will be much easier. If you don't achieve that at the beginning, you're going to struggle as time goes on, especially when you get on the ship. So today, tomorrow, that's what we will be working on. Today is we move and they'll have the opening ceremony. We'll observe and see, just watch. A lot of it is more just housekeeping in Japanese for the Japanese participants. And then from tomorrow and Sunday, we will do 3 course sessions on different topics. It's still very light, just breaking them in. We have a course discussion 2, which is we bring in English speakers and we do group discussion in English, try to give them a feel for what it's going to be like on the ship. It's not going to be the same, because having only Japanese and having in January, when you have the overseas participants join them together, is really totally different. And not only for the Japanese participants to realize this, but for the facilitators, us, to know that what we do this weekend and we do in January, when all 240 come together, the game is totally different. And I hope everyone, and I'm sure they will understand. It's just that it's not until January that you realize really until you're doing it, do you realize what you're in. Also, you never know there's so many variables, like English level of the group. Not only today also English level matters, but when you in January, then you have career and life experiences that are really big. Usually a big gap between the Japanese and the other countries. You also have cultural norms in communicating or speaking out. The Japanese participants tend to be more reserved or passive, as well as some other countries are more outspoken, and how to balance that. So the job of facilitator is not very easy, and can be very challenging. So for me, I think the 3 most important things for facilitator is that I think they need to have overseas experience, whether they have studied abroad, got their degree abroad, traveled extensively, or lived abroad. Maybe it could be like a kikokushicho, someone who has been raised abroad because their father or their family had been transferred overseas and then they come back. I think that experience is so important if you're going to be a good facilitator. The other one for facilitating is you have to have really good command of English. Just because you speak English doesn't mean that you can teach and facilitate in English. The game is totally different. And if you don't have enough good command of English, you won't be able to manage and control the group. And and then you may have a lot of people in that group who speak English better than you, and they may be, they may have more an advantage, or it may be more intimidating for you. So I think command of English is also important. Third would probably be teaching. I think teaching experience is important. If you haven't taught, although when we facilitate, we're not supposed to be like teaching per se, we still are teaching. We're doing little short presentations, and we're trying to, we have to teach part of it. It's still teaching. There's a constant, dynamic moving between teaching and facilitating, teaching and facilitating. So if you have teaching experience, this can, really help, but for facilitating. So I think those three are, the main that, and to have the astute sense to be able to read a class or a group and know when something is working or not working. And when it's not working, to have the ability, it's almost like critical thinking, to improvise. And maybe you have to be spontaneous at times to change something to make it work. Because when you're facilitating, you're going to see a lot of things that you had planned, they just die out or bomb out. And so it's up to you to figure out, to change it on the spot sometimes to make it better. And that skill, I think, comes with experience in teaching, but experience in life, critical thinking skills, problem solving skills are all. So those four things, I think, are the most important to be a facilitator on the Ship for World Youth, because you have every variable, cultural, religious, gender, language, life, career experiences. And if you do it well, though, on the reverse end, it's one of the most rewarding and self-satisfying experiences that you will have. If it doesn't go well, yes, it's going to be a struggle, but you will also learn, a lot about what you can do, what you cannot, and also it will help you improve. I mean, we all improve constantly, and so that's the constant X factor, is that you never know what's coming, but you're able to deal with it, and I think that's a sign of a true and the ideal, facilitator or teacher. Anyway, we're off to NYC, and see you on the other side. It's Mike signing off from close to the Japan Prime Minister's Cabinet Office in Akasaka. Signing off.